All right, Graham.
My brain's mushy. You should start it off.
Welcome to Tennis Sucks. No, we are not wearing Orlando squeeze hats. I know it looks like it, but these are Blake's Hard Cider, which is a local brand, right? Potential sponsor of the pod. Got some fucking really good shit here. 6.5% alcohol. I can't taste it. I mean, I can't taste the alcohol. This fucking drink is good, though. And I'm getting a little litty titty, so this might be an extra special pod for us. Okay? So, let's talk pickleball.
All right.
In the first match, and you said you heard me yelling at you.
Yeah.
Hit it harder. Put that ball away.
Yeah.
Did you notice everyone was cheering for the Orlando squeeze?
Everybody.
And then I walked in and started screaming for the Ranchers, and the crowd got like a little upset at me. Did you hear that? Yeah, they were like, "If we'd have known that, we wouldn't let you sit here. If you could go sit somewhere else." And I'm like,
wow.
And then I started responding back like, "Hey, I'm a big fan of Travis and the Ranchers. Sorry." And the two women on either side of me who were unrelated both said, "I recognize that voice."
Oh.
And so I said, "Oh, maybe. We have a podcast like Tennis Sucks. Your Tennis Sucks."
Yep.
And then they were so happy that I was there, even though I was cheering against their team the whole time.
I can't tell you on numerous occasions, but the best one that I remember, someone mentioned the pod. The one guy just stops, he goes, "Hey, Travis." Yeah? He goes, "Tennis fucking sucks."
He was a sucker.
He's a sucker.
Yeah, it was kind of cool that they were mad at me because I was being loud against their team. Yeah. And then they were like, "Oh, never mind. This is fun.
Very cool.
Sit down. Let's have a good time."
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Well, let's kick it off with the news that's breaking. We'll come back to MLP. I think that the one thing that we should really talk about is paddle testing. Graham, you were saying that you're not up to date with this. Travis, do you want to explain the drama of what's going on?
It was a fiasco. Basically, Pickle Labs does the testing for MLP. Brooks came out a while ago, as we know, and said something like 65% of the paddles failed in Atlanta. Well, those numbers were dwarfed this time around. Virtually every paddle company was having issues, primarily Selkirk, Yola. Yola in particular had, I don't know, some people 8, 9, 10 paddles. Paddle Tech, Jesus, I think Annalee had like 30 paddles.
Was it deflection?
Yes, deflection rate. And then like grit was an issue for some as well. But a lot of paddles, the majority of paddles were not passing. And some players like this is where, Zane, I love you, man, but you got to pay attention more. He said things like no 002s were in play. That's true. Jimmy was supposed to play with the 002, and he had to play with the power air. Dylan Frazier was always intending to play with the power air. And funny enough, in practice, Tyson came out with the power air the first day, and I was making fun of him, and he was intending to play with the power air also. With that said, all 002s did not pass. There was not one 002 in play. So players were literally like scrambling. Jimmy's the only one that I know of that had to play a different paddle than he was intentionally intending to play with. But there was a lot of people that were like, I have 9 paddles and 1 passed. You know, it was crazy.
Well, I know I went by the testing booth there in the clubhouse.
Yeah.
And I saw 3 boxes. I think a box fits probably 50 paddles of brand new Yolas. And they were just peeling them out one by one.
Yeah.
Like Yola was there, just handing the testing
just
center,
hoping for one to pass. It was crazy.
It was wild. Yeah. Like I think a couple companies just like find as many paddles as you can. We've got to get these to pass so we can get our players the paddles they need. But yeah, I saw Yola. I'm like, what are those new paddles for? And like, oh, we're getting them tested. I'm like, oh, gotcha. 150 tested paddles.
They did. I mean, like literally players were coming with 8 to 10 paddles and hoping that one would pass.
And then all those paddles then go and can play right now in nationals?
Correct.
Because they don't go through testing like that.
They don't have deflection testing right there. So yeah, it was really interesting.
Do you think players watch the testing of paddles and the ones that come back the worst, they put those aside so they can play in nationals?
For sure.
Right? They're like, keep these 2 for next week.
Yeah, they play with the hot and gritty one. Why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
So yeah, it was really quite bizarre. And then,
well, I mean, that was MLP, but then there was a kind of like a layered paddle testing issue that came out this week with Jill Braverman's podcast, where she recorded a conversation with Leia and
Connor Ogden.
Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah. So I have some history with this.
Who is Connor Ogden, by the way?
Connor Ogden is like, he looks a lot like Connor Pardo also.
The Chief Operations Officer, I think, right? COO?
Yeah, I think he's listed as the COO.
Oh, PPA.
Yes.
Got
so
it.
basically what they're saying happened, Jill, Leia, everybody that played against Irina Teroshenko in Las Vegas had an inclination that her paddle was extremely hot. Now, with that said, Jill even sent me some videos, and if you listen to the paddle, like you can hear it, it's like, holy shit, ball's coming off. It's a different sound than every other paddle. And they're saying that they requested to have that paddle challenged, that Irina stated, no, I do not want to give you my paddle. And I guess by some obscure rule with the PPA, she doesn't necessarily have to give her paddle up. Now, you would think if she says, no, you can't test my paddle, that's like an automatic fail, right? Okay, it's like a drug test. No, I don't want to get drug tested. Okay, then you fail. Well, that's not the case, apparently. Connor Pardo apparently just went to Leia and lied and simply said, like, yeah, we tested her paddle. It passed. But that never happened. So instead of like actually going through an appropriate protocol, they just lied. And now there's this, more lack of trust, essentially. So they put out this call, essentially showing that Don Stanley, who's, also made comments to me that I don't understand, because obviously I had the Tyson paddle issue a while back. They're just kind of lying to your face and hoping that you won't care enough to continue and probe and probe and probe. And ultimately with my Tyson thing, for instance, I just got tired of the bullshit, like tired of being lied to my face. So I kind of let it die. They seem to intend to not let it die. And they're having people, the PPA brass is not exactly being honest about paddle testing and all that jazz. So any more commentary on that?
So Irina's paddle is basically a D-Lam paddle tech. Is that what she's playing with?
Well, see, the question of whether it's D-Lammed is different. I don't know that. What I do know is that Annalee's paddle failed every fucking metric at MLP, like literally every one. 30 paddles apparently.
Have you ever hit a paddle tech paddle?
Not hers, but apparently hers is very different. That's what they're stating. Is the two that they're using aren't like a stock version, and they wouldn't pass any metric. So I don't know, man. Like,
I want to hit that paddle.
I want to hit that paddle too, but it just sounds like it's just kind of par for the course. There's a lot of distrust with players, and there's not a lot of clarity on the paddle testing. And it sounds like instead of dealing with it, they're just going to lie to you and be like, "Oh, you won't push this long enough. Yeah, it's fucking fine. Pass. Go away."
What advantage is there for the PPA if let's say this is all true? Like, why would they be quiet about this? Why not put more pressure on the manufacturers? I guess I'm not really sure who's winning in this situation.
My opinion is that they have such a tie to Annalee that they're going to pretty much do anything to protect her. And regardless of whether or not she's using, if she's using a legal paddle, like they don't really care. They want her to stay the queen, the winner. She's a super marketable for them. So they're not going to do anything that would minimize her ability to win.
Yeah. And they
Do
think,
you agree with that, Grant? You think that's right?
Yeah, and then I'm trying to feel what's that tie to Irina? So if they're giving that to Annalee,
hey honey,
yeah, they're giving that to Annalee, then they have to give it to Irina. Otherwise, Irina's going to complain that Annalee gets a different paddle than she gets. Right. Who else plays paddle tech on PPA? Are there any other gold card members that are paddle tech?
I think it's just those two.
Yeah, Gabe used to be, but he left. That's it, huh? Just those two?
Yeah.
I gotcha.
Oh, Andrea
Coop. Okay, so anything with Andrea Coop's paddle
Not
going
that
on?
I know of.
No,
Yeah.
I agree with you. I think that's exactly what they're doing. They're protecting Annalee.
Okay.
Yeah.
But is it just Annalee that is getting? How do we know it's just her? Like, I mean,
We don't.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah,
and
you're
that's
right.
the problem is there's not a lot of transparency.
I think the reason Annalee and Irina is a problem is because people can tell those paddles have an advantage. You can feel it when you're playing them. I don't know that anyone else like stands out as a huge outlier. That's a main
Right.
winner.
And I think what Jill and Leia are trying to illustrate is that the PPA will just blatantly lie to your face. And I know this because I went through this to where I literally said verbatim, I want to have this guy's paddle challenged. And then after the fact, they said, you didn't have the paddle challenge. It was like, okay, like if that's what we're doing here, whatever. And whatever their reasoning is for it, protecting certain players, whatever. But there's not a lot of honesty, not a lot of trust. And it's warranted that there's not a lot of trust.
Yeah. Seems like, I think that on that call, the PPA was saying that they would create a new committee, a paddle committee, I think, or something like that. So maybe this will be a turning point for it.
Possible.
I think we've had this discussion already about the turning point 6 months ago,
It's just going to
right?
get worse and worse, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Until there's like a very clear protocol in place, universal paddle testing, and it's done by an unbiased party that has rules in place. They can implement those rules.
I think
Then-
MLP's doing it, right?
It seems that way, yeah.
Everyone got the same treatment, it looked like, for MLP, right? That we know of.
For sure, yeah. No,
And they took a lot of paddles out of play.
Fucking A, tons.
Probably 100 or more.
Yeah.
85, 90% of paddles.
Yeah. It's a lot of paddles for 48 players. 48? No, 96.
And I actually thought James Ignatovich played better with the power air. Just going to say. He was playing fucking great. He played great.
All right, well, let's talk about MLP more generally then. Tell us about recap, Travis. Any thoughts on how that went? Tell me about the event.
So, and Graham, you can comment on this as well. I thought MLP did a good job of putting the event together last minute. I thought it lacked a little of the enthusiasm that I'm accustomed to feeling, whether that was due to venue kind of being put together last minute. A lot of the courts didn't have scoreboards. It was a little cold.
Not as much commentating.
Yeah, it just didn't have the
Were
same.
the payouts the same?
I have no idea.
You don't?
I don't know.
Did you get paid out?
I haven't gotten paid out yet. It usually comes like a couple weeks later.
Gotcha.
But I don't know. There was just something missing, in my opinion, from like an emotional standpoint. And maybe that's just, we've had a lot more MLP events, and maybe that's just the way it is. But I don't think that's it. I just think so much bullshit's been going on.
It has to do with the merge.
And like I said, this is my biggest issue. Like, to me, paying out all these players that don't deserve the money, it's going to deter a lot of people. Like, they're just going to be like, they're going to practice less. They're not going to try as hard. There's not like that same push, that same vigor for, I'm trying to get there. I'm trying to make a living. Or like, people are now comfy and they're just going to, anyway. So, yeah, on that front, like it didn't have what I hoped for. It wasn't as good. And it was weird just not having Steve there, Kuhn, and not having Julio there. And it was like, what the fuck's happened?
Is that do you think that that's a perception of the players or like the spectators too? Like, I'm curious.
No, I think it was everybody.
Yeah.
I think they would agree that, I think the last day had really good play, and I think there were matches that had really good energy. But I think for the most part, it died down a little bit from what I'm accustomed to.
Yeah, I thought the finals was great energy and great fan participation. It was huge to the point where people were annoyed with all the foghorns going off.
Yeah.
Oh, the vuvuzelas.
Vuvuzelas, right?
Damn. People were upset about those.
On the chat, it's like people were just like, someone take those horns away immediately.
Yeah. I mean, vuvuzelas have never had a good reputation.
They were going crazy with them. But this is a 3-story. The venue wasn't quite finished, but man, it's a pretty impressive venue.
Really beautiful venue.
Has a huge village, lots of sponsors.
Everything's bigger in Texas.
60 courts. It had a 3-story VIP food lounge type area that looked down on both the center courts. It had a 3-story grandstand, which I've never seen before, and that grandstand filled. Probably a couple thousand people just in that one set of stands. So there were a lot of positives, but yeah, the energy felt low. I noticed it the most actually in one of your matches I watched, which was disappointing. It was when you guys played the Arizona Drive.
That was a very muted match.
It was so strange, man. Both you and Julian's team just did like they didn't want to be there.
Yeah.
It was sad. I was like, what's going on right now?
It was odd. Yeah, I think I can speak to that a little bit. I think team dynamics are difficult, and I think on both ends we were having some team chemistry issues, some frustrations. I think the Drive were having their own frustrations. I think the Ranchers were definitely having their frustrations. So, sometimes I think that happens. It's unfortunate that it happened, but, so let's go to a little recap on that front. Like the Ranchers, we had really high hopes going in. Started off with a really tough match against the Squeeze. Our girls got routed 21-16 or something, 21-15, beat up badly. Then Dylan and I think, played pretty well. We had several match points. We're up 21-18 or 20-18 on Zane and Andre. I left 2 drops about net height that Andre reached in on, hit great balls. Credit to him, but I should have covered the middle. So we lose that one. George and I probably played one of our worst mixed doubles matches against Andre and Anna. Anyway, so we lose that one 3-1. And then
Orlando Squeeze played amazing in that match, by the way.
Orlando Squeeze is a
They
great
were
team, and
disgusting.
they have great team chemistry.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, we ended up losing the drive later in the day. Dylan and I smoked Deckel and Julian, I think like 21-12 or something. The girls lost to Vivian Glosman and Vivian David, which I thought was a really bad loss for them, and are still winless. Like at the end of the day, our girls haven't won yet. We're 0-6 on the women's side, which just makes it really difficult. I think Georgia played as bad as she can play. She went 0-6 on the weekend. And
I thought Dylan had a great weekend.
Dylan played great.
Dylan was probably the best player on your team. I don't know if the stats are out yet, but he was the best player.
No, he was the best player on our team.
If you had him in Atlanta,
yeah,
it'd have been a whole different story. You guys would have been awesome.
Yeah, no, he played really much better. And I think he also had some good matchups in mixed where he was able to take over a little more. Like he played
he just played great.
Yeah, but I'm saying really he played who was it? He played the first one was Zane and Rohrbacher. He played well there. I just thought that was Lauren's best match. But anyways, we had, the next day we played the Chicago Slice. We beat Ben's team in a Dream Breaker. Dylan and I beat Ben and Eric Lang. The girls lost to Schneeman and Irvin, Jesse. Then Georgia and I were killing Jesse and Ben 15-9. Ended up having a couple match points. Didn't work out. Georgia had a ton of errors at the end of the match. Just I don't know if it was confidence or what, but she's definitely struggling a little bit there. So that was a tough one. But yeah, we basically lost out a 1-2 team, which the Slice were. They got to qualify. So I think we were about one match away from qualifying ourselves.
Yeah.
So very frustrating. And at the end of the day for us, like we just need the girls to win some matches. Like I don't know what else to say. We can't be a good squad if the girls never win. Like you have to have wins. And we don't win on the women's side. So I feel like it was similar last year, the Smash. I think since last year, I've now watched my gender partners on the women's side lose 12 of 13 matches. Like it's crazy. So I don't know what's happening there, but hopefully we can piece it together. I don't even know if San Clemente is happening though. Do you?
They don't know yet.
They don't know yet. Okay, so that
50-50
maybe it's done. But yeah, very frustrating. I certainly was victim to it in the Arizona match. I was frustrated. I was pissed because I thought they should kill Glosman and David. And it's like, fuck, man. Tired of watching losses. So some people said they were surprised that Anna Lee's team didn't qualify. I wasn't. Like, I think AJ's playing about as bad as he can play at the moment. And Thomas, who's an awesome player, maybe like by metrics, he was like the second to last player in player standings, but that doesn't mean anything. Like he could have played fine and his partners were terrible. But yeah, they didn't qualify. I think the Squeeze and DC are by far the two best teams.
Yes.
Like it's not even close.
Yeah.
I still stick with the fact that Ben is one of the smartest people I've ever interacted with. I want to say that, especially in terms of pickleball. I have no fucking clue what he was thinking picking his team. Like that's the dumbest team of all time. You're probably going to win the majority of your matches. Why would you choose the worst Dream Breaker team ever? Like, no joke, when we were going into that Dream Breaker against them, in my head, I was like, we actually can't lose this. It's almost impossible. Like something magic would have to happen. We can't lose this. So anyway, congratulations to DC. Fucking Christian Alshon was a beast, man. Guy went 9-1 in his 10 matches and really looked like improvement rate is high. Like he has really sharpened up his game. I think he's a fucking sick right side player because he's got a great roll forehand dink. And I was really impressed with him.
And the Smash did not great,
yeah,
but better.
Ahead, sorry.
We went 1-2.
But man, I thought we played well.
Yeah, we picked up Mari Humberg. Shout out to Mari.
Fucking A, she was good.
I like her. You will see her, I guarantee you, in Challenger from here on out. And more than likely, I could see her creeping into the bottom level of Premier.
Yeah.
Just a gut feeling. She's a strong left side player. She's got great a great team player, good energy, aggressive, doesn't make a ton of errors, plays smart. I have nothing but great things to say about Mari Humberg. Colin played so much better than he did in Atlanta.
Yep.
Colin came through, played better in mix, played aggressive. I just, we didn't quite pull it off. We were ahead in a lot of games we lost. We got close. We were 1-2. We needed to take one more of those matches to move on. But definitely a much better feeling and better team than in Atlanta, no question.
I thought Schick played way better.
Yes.
The only thing that I would knock them for, he and Brendan, it seemed like they were up big in two matches. I didn't see the first one, but I saw the second one where they were playing Nunnery and Emmerich, and they were playing awesome. and then they really took their foot off the gas.
Yeah.
Like
That happened a lot.
They were playing super aggressive until it was winning time, and then completely backed off.
So we lost 6 games total. I think out of those 6, in 5 of them we had match points.
Damn.
5 of the 6 we had match points, and some of them multiple match points.
Okay, so here's a little hot take really quick. The freeze should be gone, and not only the freeze, there should be none of this anymore. Like, the gimmick is over. Let's stop manufacturing drama. Let's play it to 25 straight and get rid of this bullshit. The hold of like trying to manufacture drama, you have to win the last point of your serve.
Does
It's not good.
does the new freeze cause the comebacks to be more often?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I got made fun of for saying no, it's not the case
No,
in
of
the
course
crowd,
it does.
and they're like, "Aren't you like one of the owners? Shouldn't you know that?" And I was like, "I should." And they said, "Wow, you're an
No,
idiot."
it creates
Idiot.
more comebacks. It still favors the team that's ahead, but really, like, we're past the point of manufactured drama. Like, that was a nice idea for a while, but now let's legitimize the sport. Like,
I can
let's-
agree with that. I can agree with that.
it's time. Like, that's it's stupid.
I will
We
say,
don't need it anymore.
I think that like it's funny that like people almost are disappointed if it doesn't go to Dreambreaker. I feel like that was kind of the kind of feeling
No,
I remember
agreed.
in Atlanta.
Yeah, we want Dreambreaker.
And-
You're watching
Girls
women
versus guys.
women versus men.
Yeah.
But how many Dreambreakers actually are women versus men? I feel like it's
Fair bit.
Quite a bit.
really.
I think that's changing though, because more people are realizing statistically you just put man, man, woman, woman. But you're still getting every now and then a man versus a woman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
But I've heard some interesting takes on how to alter the Dreambreaker as well that are really good.
okay, go ahead.
Like, you start with the first person playing 2 points,
Alright,
and the
yes.
first person from the other team playing 4, and then it's 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4. So you always switch out. You have to play
You
basically
get even
against different
more
players.
matchups.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's nice. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
right.
you're not
Variety.
aligning people.
No,
It's-
you're
I like that.
staggering them.
You're staggering.
I like that.
I like
You
that
do?
too. Because you
Yeah,
have to play
because
2
then it feels like the team has to be more
Correct.
cohesive. It's not just a head-to-head.
Right.
Because otherwise you're just playing short singles games.
Yeah, I
between
think
teams.
that's smart.
Hey, Steve, Jason, Al, let's get on this.
So
Brooke, Brooks.
I'll put it in. I'll put it in.
But so if San Clemente doesn't happen, that's the end of the
That's
season.
end of
right?
season 2. Yep.
That's okay.
And then it looks like MLP had made a decision to remove the Premier Challenger League format, right?
I don't know fully. Is that I haven't taken the time to really analyze what that means.
It seemed like they were going to get rid of the two divisions.
Is that
and
right?
Going to
Oh, here,
have
sorry.
24 teams that are playing just in different pools. So that there would be no.
I don't know. I haven't heard that.
Oh.
I
It
can't
is a
confirm
rumor
it.
that's going around.
I mean,
You're
that's
not
what it
wrong.
looked when they announced the schedule with PPA. That's what
We
it
don't,
seemed.
I don't think we fully know how that's going to work yet.
Okay.
But if we know by next week, I'll
Okay.
get some more info on that.
Yeah, I'm so curious still to see how the schedule's all going to work out. And,
It's a big schedule.
So many fucking tournaments.
Yeah.
It's impossible.
Everyone just play MLPs and play a couple PPAs. That's probably the right move.
Well, you got to play the slams and the cups, and then like the 1,000-point ones, whatever.
Well, we did finally actually get like a full list of the new PPA events based on how many points they're worth. So now, Travis, you'll be able to actually plan out your events a lot easier.
Yeah.
To get the points you need.
Yeah. No, and I
Um,
will for sure.
Yeah. So Graham, you can figure out which one you're going to play with.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
I got to look at that schedule.
Yeah, so I should say I'm starting off the first Grand Slam with Zane. I'm going to play 4 events with him in the first couple months. I'm trying to play a few with Hayden, but his first 6 are with Dawson, so we might play a few after that. And then Tardio is my third mark, who I really, really want to play with again. I think he's made huge strides. And I'm looking for Mesa.
What about Dayskew?
I don't know.
I know we talked about it before.
Hey, I like him, but I think he's playing with Nunnery if he plays. I think he and Nunnery are formed a really solid.
We should have another talk.
Are they going to play PPA? Because they normally play APP?
Yes, because
Okay.
they're signed now.
Yeah,
Oh,
they're signed.
right. Of course.
But the way Andre played, holy cow.
Dude, he was so solid.
That guy's a machine.
Yeah, he's a machine.
Travis, you'd written here, do stats matter? Did you cover that already, or is that something you want to talk about?
Pardon, say it one more time.
You said, do stats matter?
Yeah, do stats matter? Like, I think that there's Real Clear Stats is doing a really good job of putting together stats, and how valuable those stats are, I think, is to be determined. But obviously, the stats favor me, so I'm biased. I think they matter. But how much do you think they matter? Like, do you think these stats that they're putting out about like speed ups, percentage, how many balls you're missing.
Yes.
How much merit do you think that has in determining a player's value? Because I think
I can't give it enough merit. It's enormous.
enormous. So here's the funny thing: is like there's
No
a lot
question.
of players.
Who's gonna
Well, here's the point.
argue that?
Tons of people are arguing that.
It's dumb.
It's very dumb. It's very dumb, right? Because players' perception of certain players is like
stats don't matter. It's like that's like saying, oh, LeBron triple doubles every game, but that's not
but
important.
those stats are a lot more clear cut at the moment. Like that's why the player impact is so interesting, right? That's the one stat that's like basically taking everything. I'm third, and
I can't vouch for player impact. I don't know what that takes into account, but okay.
a lot of things, important things. But my point is there's a lot of players who were picked really high that like consistently perform really poorly in the statistics. And a lot of those players I've watched are like, oh, the stats don't matter. It's like, they don't matter because they don't favor you and you're being exploited. Like finally you're being exploited that you miss every third fucking ball and you're not that good. That's why.
I'd have a bad player impact thinking about it.
Your drop percentage though would be like 98.
Oof.
I would take your drop. I want your drop.
Player impact not looking good over here. Yeah, those stats are bullshit.
Stop it. Okay, so I mean, I think they have merit. I think he's going to continue to improve that as well. I also heard from someone that like it's impossible for a human to do this. It needs to be artificial intelligence taking all this data.
It does.
Yes, I agree with that. But I think it's going to be really interesting in time. Fuck yeah, more hard cider. I think it's going to be interesting in time to see like if players are drafted more based on the stats as opposed to someone's perception. That's all on that.
Here's an interesting question. Zane had said that if Anna Lee and Ben play in men's, they would get to quarters.
I have to assume Zane was on some sort of substance when he said this. Like he was high as a kite or completely delusional because no, they would not make the fucking quarters.
Zane also thought we might make quarters at Utah.
We should have made quarters at Utah.
Oh, okay. He did say something along those lines.
Well, I played like shit.
I thought you guys would get to the quarters or something. I'm like, what?
That was my fault. On that front, but he is very funny, and I really do admire the guy. I really like his personality. However, in this, like to say that they're a top 8 team is insane. What do you mean they're top 8? That means like you're saying that they would lose or they would beat whom? Like let's think about that. Who's the 9 team? Would they beat Tardio and Garnett? Are you fucking crazy? They would light Anna Lee up.
Or yeah, I'm thinking like Thomas Wilson.
And Julian Arnold?
And Julian
That's
Arnold.
like a 6 team. Though.
Okay, yeah. I'm trying to, what's the 8 team? I don't know. I have to think about that more. I'm not totally against that thought from Zane.
Okay.
They wouldn't always make
DJ
quarters,
Young
but I
and
could
Pat
see
Smith.
them making quarters.
DJ Young and Pat Smith, who literally beat the Johns brothers.
Good point there.
Philip Locklear and Ben Newell, who literally beat the Johns brothers. You're telling me that they're going to suddenly, that's like the 30th best team, and they have the ability to beat the Johns brothers. Tell me on any scenario where Ben and Anna Lee beat Colin and Ben. That doesn't happen.
Yeah.
It's a stupid comment from him.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm not completely agreeing.
But you're leaning. I can feel it.
If it makes you feel better, I'm leaning.
Heavily leaning.
Slightly leaning.
Heavily fading.
Man. That would be fun. Well, we'll never find out, I guess, but it would
We
be.
might.
You think that we could see that match? We're in the middle of nationals.
I haven't hit a Jack Sock, by the way. I want to find out who he's playing.
Jack
Nobody
Sock
knows
is,
that.
Ask him.
You know something?
Wait. No.
I'm going to ask him,
thinking
like,
of
who are
Sam
your
Query.
who are your partners in the first 10? Give me one.
Newman?
Give me one, Jack.
Newman.
Give me one.
Riley Newman?
Is it? Maybe it is.
Might be Riley.
Speaking of which, you and Newman had made plans to. You and Newman had made plans to partner up. Did you solidify any dates yet?
For what?
To play.
You and Riley Newman?
Christian
I think-
Alshan, great MVP of MLP.
I just need to drop one more pick. Son of a bitch. Can't catch a fucking break.
All right, so yeah, we're in the middle of nationals right now as we're recording this. Weird format, doing it as a progressive draw versus having events based on each day. What do you guys think about that?
I think it's awesome. I think it's the way it should be done.
Have you watched any of it?
No, but
No.
I don't need to. It's basically how they do it in tennis. I think it keeps the day fresh. Like you can have a loss in men's, but you're then excited about going to play mixed, and that's fucking cool. I think the days are long and arduous mentally more because you have to be playing with the same guy the whole time. I think it's really nice to split it up. So I hope that I don't think you need to go to one match solely a day, but the fact that they're going 3 out of 5 is interesting. Like you have to make the events too long, but I would like to keep it 2 out of 3, 2 matches at the most per event, and that's it.
What do you think, Graham?
I have no comment on it. I want to see it.
Okay.
I know people are confused by it. That's for sure.
There's definitely some confusion. I mean, to me, the things that I'm thinking about specifically is as a player, would you ever consider not playing singles so that you're fresh enough to
Yes.
play doubles?
People are already doing that.
So,
Yes.
like, how does that benefit? I mean, I guess then it's more about the spectator element than it is for the players.
Isn't
I
it
guess.
unlike tennis though, because a lot of the top players aren't playing those other events,
Yes.
right?
True.
Like in tennis, like Rafa's not going and then running to a.
In the Grand Slams, he
Doubles
doesn't play
match.
doubles. In some of the Master Series, he would play doubles.
Okay, all right. But like in pickleball, everyone's playing every event.
Yes, for the most part.
For the most part, except for singles.
Right.
So, are players just going to start specializing then, or are they going to just try and do all
I
three
think
events?
specialization is gonna happen as time.
Yeah, there's
time
too many
goes.
players.
And especially on the single side, you're just gonna see guys who pass and move so well that maybe aren't as good in doubles.
Interesting. And then the other downside to it is I feel like it prioritizes those players that are able to travel and stay that long for these events, right? Because, a lot of players previous to this were like maintaining full-time jobs.
Right.
And so if you're having to play every day
That's
now.
not the case anymore because now they're being paid.
But I mean, like
be
that kind
full-time
of
pros.
is now
Still,
locking
Kawamoto
those
still have a
players
full-time
in.
job. Andrea Coop still has a full-time job. Pat Smith still has
But
a
not
full-time
for next
job.
year.
They still do.
Oh, they will?
Absolutely.
Oh, wow.
For sure.
They're getting paid that kind of money and keeping a full-time job?
Yeah.
How's their job feel about
if
that?
they can.
Yeah.
Like, why wouldn't they if they can?
But
I
is
don't
it going to lock out new talent though?
Which, speaking of, I wrote the Kawamotos today. You haven't gotten back to me. Don't like that. Jackie and Jade, you combined 7 feet. Okay, I'm almost as tall as both of you. Answer my call.
Did you see that there's a Guinness World Record being trying to break the longest pickleball match?
Yeah,
I think they're
didn't
doing
care.
that. Did you see
Irrelevant
that while
to
you
me.
were there?
Is that on the street? That's those street courts they created?
Yeah.
I did not know that. But
I don't know what the details of. Like, are they continuously playing throughout the night, or is it just they pick it up during the? I don't know how this is supposed to work.
You're
I
asking
don't
the
know
wrong
either.
person on
Yeah,
that
I
one.
don't know.
I've been out of
I
the
just
loop this week.
I heard something like it was 70, 69, 2. Like they were keeping the score going forever or some shit like that.
What are they playing to? 1,000?
Yeah, exactly.
10,000?
Like the game just carries on. Got it.
Gotcha.
I thought that they were gonna. I was hoping that they'll be playing throughout the whole night. Like they're just constant.
They've
play.
done that. There's already a record for that. It's pretty long. It's more than 24 hours. It's more than 48 hours. It's a long. I saw people do it.
Like
I
the
saw
same players.
I saw the longest dink rally. That was
Oh,
a
really?
ton.
Wow.
It was thousands upon thousands of
Wow.
dinks in a row.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wild.
I'm trying to switch my grip. Sorry, I'm fixated on it at the moment. I'm changing it.
You're changing your grip.
I'm trying to change my grip.
All right, we'll talk about it.
He's
Let's
trying to
go.
become Ben Johns.
I am trying to
tell us what is the change?
So I'll do this really quick. I've been in Continental forever. Like this is a standard tennis grip. If you look at Ben Johns when he started 6 years ago, he's in this grip. Progressively, he's changed it over more towards a forehand grip.
Mhm.
Okay, like a little past a Federer forehand, essentially. And I have Tom's paddle. That's not good. The disadvantage is that you have to put the paddle down for a backhand counter, which right now is my best shot. But because I'm in Continental, I'm very backhand dominant, which leaves me susceptible to a few things on the right hip and right shoulder. So I'm trying to move my grip over here. So for 2 reasons. One, I can protect my forehand side better and reach more on the forehand side because anatomically, if you're in this grip, you can't reach and bend your wrist back. So if I'm in this grip, I can reach much more and be much more effective on the forehand wing. And I want to roll drop. So if I can roll drop and hit this better and still maintain the backhand dink, then this is a much better grip for me. JW is also in this grip. So they are not a conventional tennis volley grip. And I feel like if I don't do it, I'm going to continuously have weaknesses. So I am working on shifting my grip over.
So how many other players have that grip, or is that
A lot of them.
Oh, okay.
And there are a lot of players that are in Continental, that are in border range. Like Hayden Patrickman is almost like my old tennis forehand grip. he plays the whole thing like this. He's grown up playing that way. And I think the game is leaning to that side because you need to be more creative with spin. And this allows that. And if you can't reach on both sides, you're also limited. So this allows me to reach on both sides. But the problem is I just don't have the same control at the moment. And it's going to take time. But I think it's a worthwhile change to be able to guard my right side and have a better forehand and ultimately be a better player.
Luke, I've been playing the grip change my entire career. Yeah.
What do you mean you've been playing the grip change?
I've always played the grip change.
Oh, really?
Just sometimes.
Well, Zane says he changes grips too. Like from baseline to net, he changes.
That's what I do.
And I play with one grip the whole time.
Except half the time I forget to make the grip change. So if you ever see me,
I've watched
if you
that.
ever see
It's
me
very,
hit
very
if
frustrating.
you ever see me hit a volley that doesn't go where I want it to, more than likely I forgot to change the grip at the kitchen line.
Nice.
Yeah, happens all the time.
So how long does it take you to change your grip, Travis?
I think it's going to take me 2 months.
Yeah.
To really feel comfortable. Because like I did it, I've done it now for 2 days. I'm already frustrated. Connor yelled at me. He's like, it's been 2 days. Stop being a pussy. And because
I tried this before.
I did
about a day.
in very short.
Yeah.
I have to commit to it at this point because the reality is if I do it for a month and I still suck, I can always go back. But I need to try this because I did it the other day and my ability to reach on the forehand side was fucking crazy. Like, and there's so many balls that are shitty drops, and because of my grip, I have to hit them like at body side, where I could reach 3 feet in front of me and snap the shit out of it.
Yeah.
Why are you doing this? You know what you're doing.
I agree with you. I have a.
You know what you're doing.
Remember, I used to say like this is so. This is so tough to hit this shot like this, and you were like, you can learn that. Just it's fine. I can do it, and I'm like, it's tough. Though.
You did say that,
right?
Yes. Wow.
Remember?
Do you see how excited you got? That was childhood exuberance right there. You looked like Dirk Nowitzki last night. He was so excited.
Awesome.
Okay.
All right. Well,
Is that it?
Unless you want to talk about your project,
Potential
your passion
sponsor?
project, do you want to talk about that, Graham?
Spa. So
St. Pete Athletic. Graham is putting together the best.
Don't say Graham. Graham and Travis.
Travis,
and a group.
and a group. But I'm not doing shit.
You will be.
I don't want to do much. Just want to get paid.
All right. Well, gotcha. Gotcha.
You're using my very prestigious name.
Yeah. We are attempting, more than likely, opening a club in downtown St. Pete, like the rest of the world, having a true indoor facility where pros can train, people can play, even when it rains and it's 100 degrees in Florida, in air conditioning, with food and beverage, elevated, lager, ride your bike downtown. It's perfect. It's the perfect city. It's the perfect location. It's the best guys that could possibly be doing it. St. Pete locals. And yeah, we're excited. We're opening up basically 100,000 square foot facility near downtown St. Pete.
And let me tell you something about Graham. And this is going to be a compliment to you. You're probably going to hate it, but Graham is an under promise, over deliver guy, which I've always liked about him. There's a lot of people who like have an idea and they're telling you like, hey, I'm going to do this. Graham won't really tell you things are going to happen until they're basically done. So I think that we're really close on this.
We're close.
And I think that it will be a premier facility nationwide that will change the fabric of St. Pete and be so fucking awesome for this community.
If anybody wants to part with a spare $1 million at the moment, just reach out. DM.
Well, you don't need to part with it just for a few years, and then you're gonna get your money back.
That's
plus.
true. Not even departing.
Don't
if you
part.
want to take your $1 million and turn it into $3.5 million
There you go.
over the next 10 years.
If you invest over $1 million, then myself or Graham will give you 10 free lessons. You can make your selection.
You can choose.
And we'll
10
see.
each. 10 each.
And well, no, Graham, I want to see who they choose because
Okay.
you always say you're such a fucking great instructor. Who are you going to choose? Do you want lessons from him or from me?
Yes, that's true. I will give 10 free lessons to anyone who invests
Over $1 million.
$1 million or more. Yes. So DM us. We
There you
need
go.
just one more.
Engage fucking.
You're the guy.
Great paddle.
That guy right now.
Great
or
fucking
girl
paddle.
listening.
Awesome. All right. Well, that's our topic. So good way to end it.
Blake's Hard Cider?
Blake's Hard Cider. They're pretty good.
They might
sponsor. If they give us
They might
more
be
money,
fucking
they
great.
might be great.
Well, you got to give more than nothing to be great. All right, guys. Tennis fucking sucks. Look at the courts behind us. Nobody plays. It's fucking awful. Pickle rocks.